As a finance professional in a disrupted business landscape, what does it take to be in demand? What does it take to attract great paying international roles? If you're an ICAN member, it'll just take one exam. That's all it takes to complete the globally recognized CIMA professional qualification and the internationally respected CGMA designation. As a CIMA member and a CGMA designation holder, employers will look at you as a finance professional, constantly acquiring new skills to add value to the business. That's why they'll be willing to pay premium to hire and retain you. If you have 5 years of relevant experience and are an ICAN member, you can directly sit for the final exam of the CIMA Professional Qualification, the Strategic Case Study Exam. Start studying the CIMA Professional Qualification. Prepare to make an impact.
Okay, welcome to ICAN-ngr. Today is a fantastic day because we've been having very, very insightful discussion at the 54th Annual Accountants Conference happening live at the Hilton, Abuja. It's been day one with hospitality night, and then we had lots of districts showcasing their prowess, showcasing their culture and expertise in accounting field, and with the theme, Reimagined, Governance Reimagined, Mapping the Future. And day one, day two, right, we had plenary sessions that discussed everything about governance. We had very high-level dignitaries that attend the conference, and we had experts in the field of accounting and even industries. We had a lot of captains of the industry grace the occasion. Day two also featured a lot of technical sessions, panel sessions on different fields and different fields that people would like to belong. We had from real estate, from agriculture, we had information and technology, we had from the transportation and logistics business. It was a wow event. I can say that everyone had fun right here in Abuja at the Annual Accountants Conference. It's the 54th of its kind, and the host remains Chief this year's Alaribe, our own Diamond President. Right here is day four, and then we're having a lot of awards to be won by districts that performed well, with the numbers of delegates that were sent for this conference, and also with other things around sports, competitions, and everything around it was all encompassing for everyone that attended. So we'll be having the award session and the closing ceremony today, Thursday. Well, the organizers of the events, manned by the chairman of the conference, Otumba Tobi Abiola FCA, has already designed a beautiful edifice for the gala night for tonight. We hope that you have an enjoyable time on ICAN-ngr while we show you some of the very, very dignitaries or very, very inciting sessions that happen. So we're going to run you through some of the events of the day, and we hope that you listen and you watch and you understand that it is very important for you to network and always come for the conference. We had lots of delegates. Over 9,000 people registered for the conference. It was full. Yes, it was full. And remember, it was the first time where ICAN would grace the occasion at Transcorp Hilton. It was just a beautiful one to attend, and I really had fun. So please, we're going to show you some pictures and videos of some of the events that happened during the 54th Annual Accountants Conference. Join us.
Students thought that Nigeria was a failed state, and they asked me. I was very angry with the way they were describing Nigeria as a failed state. Now, this was in 2002 when I was teaching them human rights and international politics. But then they said, Sam, you are saying that Nigeria is not a failed state, but all these plethora of wrongs are going on. How do you describe Nigeria? I scratched my head and I said, Nigeria is not a failed state. Nigeria is a state that is in stasis, that's trapped, not moving, but not yet failed. They talk about the services of electricity, power, water, and I said, Nigeria struggles to provide social services. It was difficult for me to regulate out. Now, why am I bringing this story? When we talk about social contract, like he pointed out, social contract is a construction about relationship between people and government. It has multiple dimensions. First, just like in corporate governance, we talk about corporate compact. In personal affairs, we talk about personal compact. It means how the company and staff relates. If you work in Shell, for example, and you work in, let's say, any other Nigerian company, not top rates, you will see that each company has a corporate culture. Each company has a corporate compact. How management relates to staff, how staff relate to management and with themselves. In the same way, in a family, in a social setting, there are either written rules, assumptions, norms that characterize behavior. Now, let's take 3 countries. The keynote speaker talked about Rwanda, Singapore, and the US. Every of these countries have social compact, meaning the commitment that a state has with citizens. The US, we talk about the US dream, or US, right now there's a hurricane going on in the US. Is that also? Presidents have been taken to task that they didn't show forth in one day. Presidents are struggling to explain actions taken. And citizens are complaining that they're not seeing enough of federal intervention. Citizens are saying they are giving more money to Ukraine, and they are giving us only $750 per person. And government is saying, no, this is just temporary. Now look at the point there. There is an expectation, an entitlement. There is a demand by citizens who understand those entitlements. And there is a response by government who feels obligated. So, social contract has implicit and explicit mechanisms. The explicit could be a written rule, law, that says you have this right. Chapter 2 and Chapter 4 of our Constitution contains the Nigerian social contract. All Nigerian citizens have these rights. The implicit is the idea, what we call democratic citizenship. And I want to show us 3 importance about Nigeria. Every country's practice of social contract is defined by its history and the ideas behind that country. Nigeria was a colonial country, a colonial experiment. If you go to all our cities, you see GRA, true or false? We still have GRA. Now, GRA is a colonial idea about the people, the natives, and the elites, the British. When we took over government, we didn't destroy that concept of GRA. We imported and refined it. So today, Nigeria's governance is underlined by a notion of what I call neo-feudal, undemocratic ethics. Neo-feudal, meaning it's not exactly feudalism, but it's neo-feudal, meaning it does not see its citizens as equal to the leaders. It creates what we call prerogatives. It's a primordial state and a state of neo-patrimony. Patrimony means leadership gives you, dispenses benefit for you. And let me show you how it works very clear. We are talking about the scandal, alleged scandal of prison with Bob Risk. Now, it's not a news. It is a symptom of the underlying character of the Nigerian state. What is that character?
What's happening? Okay. Hello. All right, sir. Hello. All right. Permit me. I'll try to be as audible as possible. Yeah. So good afternoon, everyone. Once again. Yeah. So I'm Owameze Chibuzo. I. Hello? Yeah, so I think this is better. Yeah. So, once again, I'm Owameze Chibuzo. I'm currently with the GIG group. I'm here on behalf of the chairman and the managing director of the GIG group in the person of Mr. Chidi Ajaire. Unfortunately, he couldn't be around, and he sends his greetings and his thoughts. Yeah, so he has asked that I represent him at this forum, which is a great honor, I must say. So I'm here representing Mr. Chidi in the area of transportation and logistics. So yeah, we'll be speaking to, we'll be touching on areas bordering around transportation and logistics sector in Nigeria, and the importance of this sector in our economy. I mean, the challenges we also face, the economical challenges we also face, and what we hope the possible solutions or our prayers to the government would be. Yeah, so as I rightly said, I was speaking on the transportation and logistics sector and the role it plays, the vital role it plays in the Nigerian economy. So we all know the transportation and logistics sector plays a very vital role, and the importance of this sector cannot be overemphasized. This sector also contributes significantly to various aspects of our development in this country. Few of these aspects that the transportation company, the transportation sector impacts on in the economy are in areas of facilitating trade and commerce, right? So we all understand the importance of transportation in facilitation of trade and commerce, both in the domestic and international trade. Also, importance of transportation contributes largely to the economic growth of the country. Transportation and logistics sector contributes to Nigeria's GDP by driving activities in the industry such as manufacturing, agriculture, mining, and other aspects. Efficient logistics also lowers the cost of doing business and enhances productivity in other sectors, promoting overall economic growth. So this sector is also important in the aspect of job creation. As we're aware, this sector provides jobs to a lot of our countrymen and women, I would say. This sector employs a large number of Nigerians, from drivers to logistics staff to engineers to tech experts, to managers, warehouse managers, supply chain professionals, and other important business opportunities. Expanding infrastructure as well, such as roads, railway, ports, and also creates jobs in construction, maintenance, and other allied services. It also supports industrialization. It's essential for industries to receive raw materials and deliver finished goods, as Nigeria works to diversify its economy away from oil. Improving the transportation and the logistics industry would help a long way. It also would boost the infrastructural development.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear him? Can you hear him? Excellent. Can you please then pay attention and listen to him? Thank you very much.
Yeah, so as I was saying, it also helps to reduce regional inequality, improving supply chain efficiency, as well as promoting integration into global value chains. So yeah, I'll speak to some of the challenges we face as a transportation company trying to thrive in the Nigerian sector. As we delve into the challenges faced by transportation, it's essential to also understand the broader context of our sector and its significance to the economy. First, let's talk about the economical landscape. The transportation sector.
They want to speak on a particular topic. But good afternoon again, and greetings from my CEO. He's unable to be here today, Benga Bola, and he sends his regards. So I'm just going to talk about technology, fintech, and everything around technology. Everyone here has actually mentioned 1, 2, 3 things about technology. I have a slide, but I don't know if technical has it already, but I'll just let us understand that agribusiness, they need fintech to survive. We have people in the food processing business, they need fintech to survive, real estate, and also the transportation business. So technical, do you have the slides? All right, I'll just continue. So one thing that is sure is that fintech is revolving. And when I was doing my survey, I realized that about $700 billion transaction was done digitally on a digital platform, which means everything around our businesses and around everything that we do survives on technology. If you're here today and you haven't done 1 or 2 things in terms of business and your job on your phone, can I see your hands, please? You haven't transacted on your phone, you haven't sent emails, you haven't called for business using the smartphone or even any other phone. Can I please see your hands? It seems she hasn't. So everyone fully relies on technology to survive, and that is why we're telling you how important financial transformation has become when it comes to fintech business. You know, I was also doing a research, and I realized that if your age, my age, the younger generation do not rely on technology, a lot of advancements will not happen in Nigeria and even in Africa. I also want to let you know today that the demography of Nigeria, we have a lot of youths, and they are taking over the space. And some of us, because I was talking to my mother-in-law about 3 days ago, and she wanted to get a verse in the Bible, and she was referring to Google. She was struggling. And I said, Mommy, do you know that there's something called Meta AI? Do we all use WhatsApp? Do we use WhatsApp? Do we use Meta AI, for example? You do not use Meta AI. You do. So that is what we're talking about. There's so much transformation, and you need to grow with the trend. If you're not going with the trend, then you'll be left behind. And like a lot of people would say, they said technology has come to stay. They said robots will take over our businesses. Robots will take over the law suits and even take over the court cases. But I believe robots cannot take over my accounting business and also my brain. Are we right? Okay. So one other thing that we need to be very assured of is financial inclusion, is around innovation, how we empower ourselves at large and even in Africa. We have a large demography of youth and young people in Nigeria. And they say, oh, they're all Gen Zs, they are millennials, but you don't know what those guys do in their secret places. We talk about working remotely. We talk about earning money, multiple streams of income. And that can only be done through technology. Sometimes we're here and the taxmen are looking for you. They're saying these ones are making so much money aside the regular employment income that they have. That's because we have the strength of technology to take us way above expectations. And you all know that with your smartphones, You can carry out a lot of transactions. We bought our air tickets using our phones or maybe our devices. We also are able to do our banking transactions with our phones. We're able to do some USS code transactions or buying your airtime and data with your phones. That is the power of technology. Are we really moving with the trend of technology? You know, when they told me to take this topic, I felt I was at home with my colleagues because a lot has to be done. I go on field when I was with the Big Four in my former ward. I go on field and you see the taxmen coming with piles of books, the accountants coming with files. We've gone past that age now. How many of us use the e-system of audits? E-system of audits where you send everything via email, everything is being sent via smart drives and all of that. Do we do that or we still carry the files? Even the Ministry of Finance, the minister doesn't sign on papers again. He does it via phone and via devices. So, my dear accountants, I want you to understand that we've had a convenient way of doing transactions, of doing a lot of things that make us earn our living. Some of us have multiple streams of income, and you're not there at all times to supervise. But with technology, trust me, security, fraud, yes, we know there are risks of all of those things. But there's also data protection of everything that you do. What is your advice to stakeholders about governance reimagined?
Well, we are competing with other countries, and in this gathering are people who are conversant with what is happening around the world. And therefore, this is a group that our nation is blessed with to look at those transformative ideas, those ideas that can help Nigeria take its place of pride in the Committee of Nations. It's dispassionate, it's not partisan, and it can support government in generating critical mass of support for policies that will ensure that we are achieving double-digit or near double-digit inclusive growth, which Nigeria needs to be at in order for it to work for us. That is our renewed hope strategy.
Security is key to national development and growth. No nation can be truly economically successful without peace and stability, or when its security is threatened. This is why we must perform our civic obligation of duly paying our taxes so as to provide the needed resources for government to secure our lives and properties. When we pay our taxes, government is provided with the needed resources to equip our security agencies for a safer Nigeria. The money we pay as taxes is used to purchase equipment and hardware, invest in intelligence and other sophisticated technology, as well as cater for the welfare of all security personnel. A secure nation is a prosperous nation. Nigeria is safer when we pay our taxes. FIRS, it pays to pay your tax.
The Skill Up Artisans Program Super is an initiative of the federal government.
The aim of Super is to upskill Nigerian artisans for better employability. This we are carrying out by collecting the data of Nigeria artisans through massive registration, training, certification, and licensing for better job opportunities both locally and internationally. Super will improve the quality of life of Nigeria artisans. It will improve the quality of work from Nigeria artisans, enhance work and professional ethics from Nigeria artisans, reduce dependency on foreign artisans, and increase foreign exchange through talent export.
Log on to super.itf.gov.ng to register now. Super, upskilling Nigeria artisans for super job.
Thank you so much. Good to be here. Always a delight to be at the conference.
All right, it's very kind
think if...
All right, sir. Welcome to the 54th Annual Accountants Conference.
Thank you so much. Good to be here. Always a delight to be at the conference.
All right, it's very kind enough for you to be here. So my question is, what does governance reimagined mean? What does it mean to you?
Well, I think if you look at the whole polity and the whole economy generally, what I think comes across is the fact that we need to start looking at how to do things differently, from economic policies, fiscal policies, even the political structure. So how do we come together and as think tank, professionals that we are, and articulate ideas as to how to change the landscape, change the story, and make sure that the country is redirected on the path of growth and stability.
Oh, great. So can you give an example of, or you can share example of some of the initiatives or innovations that this government has actually brought to book, or that we have witnessed as citizens of Nigeria?
Well, quite a lot is happening, and I'm biased towards tax and fiscal policies. I think it's one area where some of the development within that space quite delights me. It's exactly government or governance reimagined, literally speaking, because what we're having within that space is a total overhaul of the regulatory framework. We're changing our laws. We are, making fundamental changes to the regulations that is taxing. If you've been paying attention very recently, you will know that the Federal Executive Council just approved first set of bills that's been passed to the National Assembly. What that is going to do is to completely change all of the legislations that are applicable to taxing companies, taxing businesses, taxing individuals. That cannot be anything short of reimagining governance.
Thank you. So what role do you think stakeholders should play in this governance?
Well, particularly for us as professionals, I think we need to do a lot more than just being a complainant, and then talking about the issues that are not working, what the government isn't doing right. I think what the government needs a lot more are conversations around what can be done differently. So we should come forward with ideas, with propositions, with memoranda. We should be engaging the government, particularly because the government respects us. So this is the largest gathering of professionals around the continent. And so when we come together to say we've articulated this set of policies concerning how expenditure is to be managed, how government revenue is to be managed, or how taxes is to be administered, or just about anything touching the economy, I believe we have the wherewithal to be able to engage government and to be able to get them listen to us. So we should do more of, recommending solutions than complaining about what is not happening.
We've been talking to Mr. Yomi Olugbenro, is the head partner, tax, Deloitte, Nigeria. Thank you very much for being part of ICAN-ngr today.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Enjoy the conference.
Thank you.
All right, it's still ICAN-ngr, and we are here with the Chief Executive of MOFI, Mr. Armstrong. Thank you very much for being here today. All right, Dr. Armstrong, I'm being corrected as a doctor. It's not easy to get the doctorate degree. So thank you very much for attending the 54th Annual Accountants Conference. So, sir, my question is, what is your advice to stakeholders on this governance reimagined?
Well, I think the message for us, right, is that to build a more productive society, a more productive economy is a joint effort. And we recognize the pivotal role that members of ICAN have to play in helping us achieve that. And that's why we're so glad that we had the privilege to have this conversation on your platform to discuss what reforms are being undertaken. And again, those reforms are fundamental in reimagining our economy, in reimagining our financial system, because we must undertake these reforms if we're going to address the issues that we're facing right now.
Thank you, sir. So what's the comfort you give people in the grassroots, like the questions that were asked in the hall, the comfort you give them that everyone will participate and will be beneficiaries of the grants and the incentives from government?
Absolutely. One thing they can take away is that we take our responsibility as government for our people, regardless of where they are, how much they have, or their economic or social status, very seriously. and we're taking every step to make sure that no one is left behind. In other words, we have their back.
All right. So what's your advice to chartered accountants today?
They should join us in building a better Nigeria by ensuring that they give us constant feedback and look for opportunities to engage with us more, so together we can come up with policies, programs, and execute things that would impact the quality of the lives of our people.
Thank you very much. So we were with Dr. Armstrong and I was still with him. Thank you very much for attending today's conference.
You're welcome. Thank you. It was good to have you.
All right, it's still ICAN on Air, and we're right here with the Accountant General of the Federation, Mrs. Oluwatoyin Madei. And it's such a pleasure to be here with you at the 54th Annual Accountants Conference, ma'am.
Good to be here, and congratulations to ICAN at 54 Annual Accountant Conference. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. So the theme of the conference is Governance Reimagined and is mapping the future. What is your take on that theme, ma'am?
Well, it is appropriate with this theme. It's just to tell all the accountants and all other Nigerians that are hearing and listening to this, to whatever is being discussed here, that reimagining governance means imagine what the future of this country will look like. Look at what other nations are doing that we want to emulate. They imagine series of technology advancements that are coming up here and there that are reshaping the landscape, the financial ecosystem. So many things are coming up. So one needs to have that futuristic mind to be able to walk into the future and be relevant in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. And what is your advice for the stakeholders on this particular theme and also for accountants?
Well, I will advise that it's not enough to just come and discuss and hear things, but pick even just one thing that you as a person will want to work on, that will have that impact in the future that you are imagining. Likewise, the organization too needs to take one thing at a time that will be worked on to be able to achieve what that future will be having, so that the organization will continue to be relevant and be able to meet with the expectations of the society. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. And that was the Accountant General of the Federation, the first female Accountant General of the Federation, Mrs. Oluwatoyin Madei. Thank you so much, Marigan.
Thank you. God bless you.
Our own distinguished Senator Solomon Adiola, Colonels Yari, you are welcome once again to ICAN 54th AAC. As a member of the Institute, we are talking about governance reimagined, mapping the future. What's your thoughts towards this topic?
Well, first and foremost, let me congratulate every ICAN member and welcome them to this 54th annual convention of the Institute. And I can say that it's a right step in the right direction, and all issues that have been discussed at every successive annual conferences, I hope they are very topical issues which, at least to a large extent, can assist all the governments in place, the government for the future and everything, to know the thought and the belief of ICAN as a body concerning. So this year's topic is a very wonderful one, reimagining governance and mapping out into the future. I think it's a very wonderful topic. Looking at the current issues that are emerging from our country as a nation, I believe this topic cannot be very apt and very solid for these particular conferences. As we are all aware, there are a lot of reforms that this current administration is bringing up to ensure that it repositions Nigeria as a country so that we can be a more better and a robust country and to be able to compete in terms of investment-driven and all other sundry issues that can help in the growth and development of this nation. So when you look at it, and as it were, you will agree with me that the government still needs to do more to ensure that all these reforms we are introducing are not only introducing reform, but also providing solution to whatever effect the reform will be at the end of the day. And I believe this current administration is doing that putting in all their effort in trying to ensure that no more saying no to payment of subsidies on behalf of any Nigerian, that it should be a free market. Anybody can bring in his product and sell his product at any level. and also the unification of the foreign exchange. No more idea of reporting revenue with a different foreign exchange rate and also reporting expenditure with various exchange rates. There is now a unification so that at least for once we will have one rate that drives our economy and that we can all know that this is the rate that is currently where. And again, it is no longer business as usual that government has to do more to fix the rate. The rate will be fixed based on the current trend and current happenings within the economy and going beyond. And I believe all of these are indication that Nigeria is going towards the right direction. And at the end of the day, whatever the effect the reform will be bringing, definitely there will be light at the end of the tunnel, and it will be good for the overall development of our nation.
Thank you, sir. Earlier on, you spoke about the ICAN-ngr and the status at the National Assembly. For our members' understanding, where exactly are we on the ICAN-ngr?
Well, I can tell you this, that we thank God that we have passed through the first and the second reading, and currently the report is before the Senate for discussion. And in fact, I am being given a copy to peruse and look into to see if what is in the report is in tandem with what the expectation of ICAN as a body is. And I can tell you at the end of the day, that act will be passed into law. The gray areas where so many contending issues before other institutes which have been raised at the public hearing, we are looking at it critically and we'll make sure that we carry the institute along. So at the end of the day, whatever conclusion we come to on these gray areas will be something that will be generally acceptable to all members of ICAN and also to Nigerians and other professional bodies who are competing with ICAN.
And finally, your advice for young accountants who are also looking up to you as a politician and can do well.
In my goodwill message, I mentioned it. We passed ICAN when it was fail one, fail all. And I want to say this, ICAN has stepped up, and to that end, they've created what we call the credit system. If you pass any, they are ready to credit you, and until you were able to sail through. And I believe it's the right step in the right direction, so that members will not be discouraged from writing ICAN or trying to be member of the institute. So we can only improve. And whatever I want to say is that all the young ones should not be discouraged. ICAN is the institute of the present, is the institute of the immediate, and is the institute of the future. And I can tell you, we are still in shortfall in terms of numbers of professional members. We still need thousands and thousands of professional members to be part of ICAN. And I can tell you, the future is bright for the young accountant. And we are calling on them to do their best. Because we are in a passive phase. And as soon as we are through, they will take over. So for them to take over, they need to learn and learn more. And we are available for them to share ideas and also speak to them as to what the future holds for them as a young accountant.
Thank you very much, Distinguished Senator Adeola Solomon. Okay, I have before me our revered past president, Alhaji Muhammad Zakari, MNI FCA. Sir, regarding the 54th Annual Accountants Conference holding today in Abuja with the theme, Governance Reimagine, Mapping the Future. What can you say about this topic, sir?
Good afternoon, and professional colleagues. Thank you for inviting me to speak. I think that the theme of the conference, Governance Reimagine, Mapping the Future, is a great topic, especially in the light of the situation that the economic situation, particularly that we are facing in Nigeria today. And I'm really very happy with the choice of the speakers, because today in the first and the second plenary sessions, we had the right things that were said, and also the participation and the interactive session and the questions, address the key issues. And I believe that the report of the conference should go to the government, and I'm sure that if the ICAN follow up very well, that the government will implement some of the suggestions that have been made, that we have had today, that will help the Nigerian economy. And I commend the Institute for organizing this conference, and I pray that we continue to make impact on the economy.
So people like you or someone like you can be referred to as a successful accountant in your own right. What is your advice for upcoming and young accountants today so that they can also be successful in their chosen career?
We thank God for success. Success comes from God. And for me, for accountants that are young and upcoming, I think they should imbibe the motto of the Institute, which is accuracy and integrity. And they should be focused, and they should have mentors. They should ask questions. They should imbibe continuous learning. Because as we are today, the world is changing rapidly. And we are not islands on our own. We have to continue to learn and relearn and unlearn. So this is my recommendation to young accountants.
Thank you very much, our revered past president, Alhaji Ismaila Zakari, MNI FCA, for your time on the show. ICAN-ngr. We appreciate your coming.
Thank you.
In today's interconnected world, complexity is the new normal. An accountant must navigate this landscape, leveraging interdisciplinary approaches to drive sustainable growth. The Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, USA District, invites you to our 12th ICAN USA International Accountant Conference. Join us for 4 days of inspiring keynotes, interactive sessions, and expert panel sessions. Date is 26th to 31st of August 2025. Theme: Navigating Complexity, Accountants as Catalyst for Interdisciplinary Solutions. Venue is Windham, Indianapolis Airport Hotel, 2544 Executive Drive, Indianapolis, IN 46241. Join the conversation. Shape the future.
As a finance professional in a disrupted business landscape, what does it take to be in demand? What does it take to attract great paying international roles? If you're an ICAN member, it'll just take one exam. That's all it takes to complete the globally recognized CIMA professional qualification and the internationally respected CGMA designation. As a CIMA member and a CGMA designation holder, employers will look at you as a finance professional, constantly acquiring new skills to add value to the business. That's why they'll be willing to pay premium to hire and retain you. If you have 5 years of relevant experience and are an ICAN member, you can directly sit for the final exam of the CIMA Professional Qualification, the Strategic Case Study Exam. Start studying the CIMA Professional Qualification. Prepare to make an impact.
With the Honorable from House of Assembly, Lagos State, Honorable Bola Oyishao. It's such a pleasure to be here with you, sir.
Pleasure is mine, thank you.
So what are your expectations from today's conference, the 54th Annual Accountants Conference, themed Governance Reimagine, Mapping the Future? What are your expectations from the conference?
So basically, I expect at the end of a conference that a way forward from the current challenges Nigeria has right now should emerge from this. Concrete steps that ICAN can advise government, you understand, to ensure that corruption, which is the biggest elephant in the room, and other financial activities that is pulling the country back, because it's all about revenue and expenditure. Basically, that's what it is. So from this conference, I expect the expertise of ICAN should come to bear on governance.
Thank you so much, sir. So you've talked about the expertise of governance. So what are your advice for the stakeholders that we're talking about here and the different types of stakeholders that you're addressing, sir?
Well, the easiest way to delineate stakeholders is the governor, the governing, and the governed. The strength of democracy is the voice of the people. But what we find in our climb is that voice is high when we're going to elections. After elections, the voice dies off. So the role of stakeholders in this case is you must continue to engage your government positively. I'm not saying it has to be protest. I'm not saying it has to be rude,
but continuous engagement to ensure that governance is brought to bear on the people.
Thank you. You know, Lagos State has been taking the lead on a lot of initiatives. So what would you advise other states to do, especially you as a legislator?
Well, I'm still advising my state in my role as a legislator. So I'll just say, well, take the best from us, and whatever you think that doesn't work for you, leave it aside. But we are doing our best to ensure that Lagos State is still the best state within the country.
All right, indeed, Lagos State is still the best state. Yes, and that is the assurance that we have. Thank you very much, sir, for being here with ICAN on Air, and we hope that you have a lovely conference.
Thank you very much for having me. It's my pleasure. Bye-bye.
Okay, it's still the 54th Annual Accountants Conference right here at Transcorp Hilton, Abuja. We've been having a very, very great and insightful sessions, and today we're here with the Honorable Commissioner for Budget and Economic Planning of Ogun State, Honorable Olabimto. It's so great to have you here today.
I'm happy to be here. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming for the conference. We know you're FCA, right? He's a fellow of the Chartered Accountant of Nigeria, so it's great to be sitting with an erudite scholar here. So my question, sir, is what does governance reimagine means to you? What does it truly mean to you?
Okay, thank you very much. Like it suggests, it talks about thinking of new ways of doing governance, new ways of approaching governance. What do we need to do differently? The issue is traditional methods don't seem to be working anymore. I mean, what we have today is volatility, uncertainty, things are more complex, things are actually more ambiguous. And so you've got to rethink, how do you approach governance differently such that in today's complex world, people can still receive the dividends of democracy. You know our situation in Nigeria, we're battling with the FX regime, battling with inflation. So what do we need to do differently? I think that's what it's about, and that's what all the speakers have been talking about. What kind of reforms do we need? What do we need to do? For me, I think it's about taking a step backward and then rethinking and reimagining it. What do we need to do differently? A gentleman came up there, representative of the Honorable Minister of Finance. He's told us what the federal government is doing. And of course, you heard some of the comments. I think they need to go back and rejig that. For me, we need to retrace our steps, really. I think that's what we need to do. We consume and consume and consume until we go back to production. I'm old enough to know when the Naira was stronger than the dollar. And what we had at that time was we had a productive economy. I think that's where we should go back to. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, of course, I heard a woman, PC Onene, saying, you should teach us how to fish, don't give us fish. So yes, we need a productive economy. So my question again is, can you, in Ogun State, for example, under the leadership of Governor Dapo Abiodun, can you describe a successful example of open government initiatives that have happened in Ogun State?
Okay, thank you very much. And I really like that question. Since the advent of this administration in 2019 under Prince Dapo Abiodun, CON, a lot has happened in the area of the open government thing. So first and foremost, what we used to have in Ogun State was have one town hall meeting when it comes to the preparation of the budget. And so we would expect everybody to come to Abeokuta. So the first thing we did was to expand that and hold one meeting in each senatorial district. That allowed more people to take part in that exercise. We did that for about, I think, 2-3 years. And then by the 4th year, what we did was to expand it to 4 locations. Simultaneously, on that 4th year, we also decided to use technology. So what we do is we deploy a questionnaire which allows everybody from every corner to take part in that process. So we allow every stakeholder, allow them to give us sort of suggestions, what they would like to see in the budget, and what have you. The other thing we do is that at those town hall meetings, there is a kind of report. You know, we go back to them and then we say to them, these are the things we've done over the last 12 months. So we do that, and then we also do, you know, the budget pally after the budget is done to explain the budget, and then we publish the full budget every year, and then we also publish what we call the citizens' budget, which is the budget in ordinary layman's terms so they can understand. Beyond that, we publish budget performance every quarter so that everybody can see how we're doing. We also publish, we have what we call this OCDS, where we publish all contracts from a certain threshold. We publish that every month. So it's all about transparency and accountability. I know that it's a journey. You know, we've started and we'll keep improving. Every day we think about how to be more open and more transparent. Thank you.
Oh, I love that, about transparency and everything around accuracy and letting people know.
In today's interconnected world, complexity is the new normal, and accountants must navigate this landscape, leveraging interdisciplinary approaches to drive sustainable growth. The Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, USA District, invites you to our 12th ICAN USA International Accountant Conference. Join us for 4 days of inspiring keynotes, interactive sessions, and expert panel sessions. Date is 26th to 31st of August 2025. Theme: Navigating Complexity, Accountants as Catalysts for Interdisciplinary Solutions. Venue is Windham, Indianapolis Airport Hotel, 2544 Executive Drive, Indianapolis, in 46241. Join the conversation. Shape the future.
Dear distinguished colleagues, and that is the episode of ICAN-ngr, a special one at that, capturing the events of the 54th Annual Accountants Conference. You have seen the sessions, you have seen the interviews, and you have seen all about the program so far held in this 54th AAC. Till next edition, continue to stay safe and stay sound. I remain Tosin Akimomi, FCA, saying bye for now.